If your confidence disappears the moment someone challenges you, it was never confidence, it was comfort. Comfort exists when everything goes your way. Confidence exists when it doesn't. There is a version of you that feels strong when you are praised, and there is another version that stays steady when you are doubted, questioned, or ignored. Only one of them is dangerous. And by the end of this audiobook, that is the version you will become. Let us begin. Chapter 1. Kill the need for approval. The moment you start adjusting yourself to be liked, your confidence weakens, not visibly, not immediately, but internally. Approval feels harmless. It feels social. It feels completely normal. Yet it quietly controls your behavior in ways you have never fully examined. Notice what happens in subtle moments. You are about to share an opinion in a meeting. Halfway through the sentence, you soften your tone. You add unnecessary qualifiers. Maybe I am wrong, but this might be stupid, but I do not know if this makes sense, but those phrases are not humility. They are shields. Shields against rejection, shields against disagreement, shields against discomfort. And every shield you raise tells your nervous system one thing: this situation is dangerous. Protect yourself. But here is the truth. Disagreement is not danger. Silence is not rejection. Someone not smiling is not disapproval. Your mind interprets social tension as threat because it is wired for belonging. For thousands of years, exclusion meant survival risk. Today, exclusion means discomfort. Yet your body still reacts as if your life depends on acceptance. That reaction is what erodes confidence. Dangerous confidence begins the moment approval stops being necessary for your stability. Not that you stop caring entirely, but that your emotional state is no longer dictated by other people's reactions. Imagine speaking in a room and finishing your sentence without scanning faces. No searching for nods, no quick glance for approval, no micro-adjustment based on expression. You say it, you let it land, you stay still. That stillness is power. There is a story about a young executive who struggled with authority in meetings. Smart, prepared, capable. But whenever someone senior questioned him, his posture would shift. His shoulders would drop slightly. His voice would speed up. He would add more explanation than necessary. And afterward, he would replay the conversation repeatedly. What did they think? Did I sound confident? Should I have said it differently? His competence was not the issue. His dependency on approval was. Once he started noticing that pattern, he trained something simple. Finish speaking. Pause. Do not fill silence. Do not justify unless directly asked. The first few times felt uncomfortable. Silence stretched. Eyes stared. His heart rate rose. But nothing catastrophic happened. No one attacked him. No one dismissed him. In fact, something unexpected happened. People leaned in more. Because when you do not rush to defend yourself, you signal certainty. Approval-seeking behaviors are subtle. Over-apologizing, laughing to ease tension, over-smiling, explaining your boundaries softly, downplaying your achievements, saying sorry when you mean thank you. Each one chips away at your internal authority, and authority starts within. If you do not believe you are allowed to take up space without permission, you will always feel slightly unstable. Dangerous confidence is rooted in self-permission. The permission to speak without pre-approval, the permission to disagree without guilt, the permission to exist without shrinking. This does not mean becoming cold or dismissive. It means separating kindness from dependency. You can be respectful without being submissive. You can be warm without being needy. You can be open without seeking validation. Here is a powerful shift. Instead of asking, do they like what I am saying? Ask, is what I am saying true to me? One question anchors you externally, The other anchors you internally. Confidence anchored externally fluctuates. Confidence anchored internally stabilizes. Try this exercise for the next 48 hours. Notice every time you add unnecessary qualifiers. Apologize without reason. Seek reassurance. Soften your opinion to avoid tension. Do not judge it, just notice it. Awareness is the first cut. Then begin removing one behavior at a time. Start with unnecessary apologies. Instead of "sorry, I am late," say "thank you for waiting." Instead of "sorry if this sounds weird," say "here is my perspective." Feel the difference. One position shrinks, the other stands. Another powerful drill. In your next conversation, hold eye contact 1 second longer than usual after finishing a sentence. Not aggressively, not intensely, just steady. That extra second forces your nervous system to stay grounded instead of escaping into approval seeking. You will feel discomfort. That discomfort is growth, because the root of approval addiction is fear. Fear of being disliked, fear of being judged, fear of losing connection. But connection built on self-suppression is fragile, and fragile confidence collapses under pressure. Dangerous confidence accepts a simple reality. Not everyone will agree with you. Not everyone will like you. Not everyone will approve. And that is fine, because your identity is not up for negotiation. The moment you stop trying to manage other people's perceptions, you reclaim enormous mental energy. Energy that can be redirected into clarity, into calmness, into presence. The less you seek approval, the more respect you receive. Not because you demand it, but because stability attracts trust. People trust those who do not wobble. Kill the need. Not your kindness, not your empathy, not your social awareness, just the dependency. Approval is pleasant, but it is optional. Authority is internal, and internal authority is the first pillar of dangerous confidence. Chapter 2. Own your body before you speak. Before you say a single word, your body has already introduced you. Posture speaks. Movement speaks. Eye contact speaks. Breathing speaks. And people decide how seriously to take you before your first sentence is finished. Confidence is not just mental, it is physiological. When your nervous system feels unstable, your body leaks it. Shoulders round forward, chin lowers slightly. Movements become quick and unnecessary. Hands fidget. Breathing becomes shallow. You may think you are hiding it. You are not. The body always reveals the internal state. Dangerous confidence begins with physical ownership. Ownership of space, ownership of stillness, ownership of movement. Think about someone who walks into a room and does not rush. No frantic scanning, no nervous smile, no immediate small talk to ease tension. They enter, they stand, they look. Not aggressively, just grounded. That grounded presence changes the room, because the human brain reads body language faster than words. We are wired to assess safety and status through posture and movement. Fast movements signal anxiety. Collapsed posture signals uncertainty. Excessive gestures signal emotional overflow. Slow movements signal control. Upright posture signals stability. Stillness signals authority, and stillness is rare. Watch yourself the next time you are slightly uncomfortable. Do your hands move more? Do you shift your weight? Do you adjust your clothing unnecessarily? Do you touch your face? These are micro-escapes, your body trying to discharge tension. But when you control the body, you control perception. There is a simple rule. Move slower than your emotions. If your heart rate rises, slow your movements. If tension builds, reduce gestures. If you feel watched, stand still. Stillness under observation is powerful. It signals, "I am not threatened," and the nervous system follows the body. Here is something important. Confidence is not created by feeling confident. It is created by behaving confidently until the nervous system recalibrates. Your body posture directly affects your internal state. When you stand upright, chest open, shoulders back, chin level, you send a signal to your brain, I am safe, I am stable. When you collapse inward, you send the opposite message. Your brain does not just influence your body influences your brain. This is why owning your physical presence is non-negotiable. Let us make this practical. First, posture. Stand with your feet grounded, weight evenly distributed, shoulders relaxed but back, chest open, not puffed, chin level, not raised, not lowered. The goal is neutral strength, not arrogance, not stiffness, just structure. Second, eye contact. Avoid darting eyes. Avoid scanning the room mid-sentence. When someone speaks to you, hold steady eye contact while listening. When you respond, maintain it long enough to anchor your point. Then look away naturally. Breaking eye contact first, repeatedly, signals submission. Holding it calmly signals certainty. Third, movement. Eliminate unnecessary motion. No pacing while speaking unless intentional. No repetitive hand movements. No adjusting sleeves repeatedly. No tapping feet. Every unnecessary movement drains authority. Slow gestures, deliberate steps, minimal fidgeting. Fourth, breathing. Most people breathe high in their chest when nervous. Short, shallow breaths. That tells your brain there is danger. Shift to diaphragmatic breathing. Slow inhale through the nose. Longer exhale through the mouth. The longer exhale activates calm. Before entering any high-pressure situation, take one slow breath. Inhale 4 seconds. Exhale 6. That 6-second exhale lowers tension in the entire body. Now let us talk about space. Owning your body also means owning physical space. Do not fold inward. Avoid crossing arms tightly. Avoid shrinking while seated. Open posture communicates confidence. Leaning slightly forward when speaking shows engagement. Leaning back slowly while listening shows comfort. Subtle adjustments. Massive impact. There was a trial attorney who shared a simple practice he used before speaking in court. He would plant both feet firmly. He would pause. He would breathe once. Then he would begin speaking slower than felt natural. He said something important. When I control my body, my mind follows. He was not trying to look confident. He was trying to prevent physical leakage of nervous energy. That is the key insight. Confidence leaks physically before it collapses mentally. Fix the leak. Your body should not chase comfort. It should project stability. If you filmed yourself entering a room, would you look stable? Or would you look like you are asking permission to be there? That question matters, because before people decide if they respect your ideas, they decide if they respect your presence. Presence begins in the body, and dangerous confidence is visible. It does not hide in posture. It does not tremble in movement. It does not rush to shrink. It stands. When your body becomes steady, your mind becomes harder to shake. And when your body and mind align, confidence stops being an act. It becomes your default. Chapter 3. Slow down your voice. Your voice reveals your internal state faster than your words do. Before people analyze your argument, they analyze your tone. Before they process your logic, they feel your pace. A rushed voice signals tension. A shaky tone signals doubt. Excessive variation signals emotional instability. And none of these require you to say anything weak. You can speak intelligent words with an unstable voice and still lose authority. Dangerous confidence is audible. It sounds controlled, measured, unhurried. Speed is often a symptom of anxiety. When pressure rises, the nervous system wants to escape. Speech becomes faster, sentences become longer, Breathing becomes shorter. The result, you do not sound confident. You sound like you are trying to get through it. Slowing down your voice does something powerful. It forces your nervous system to regulate, because you cannot speak slowly and panic at the same time. Try this experiment. Say a sentence quickly. I think this is the best direction, and here is why. Now say it 20% slower. Pause slightly after the word direction. Finish calmly. The slower version carries weight. The faster version carries urgency. Urgency is not authority. Pace communicates status. High-status communicators do not rush. They assume attention. They allow silence. They finish sentences fully. There is something deeply powerful about a pause. Most people fear silence. Silence feels like exposure, but silence is control. When you finish a sentence and pause instead of filling space, you create tension. That tension draws focus. It says, I am comfortable here. Let us break this down practically. First, reduce your speed by 15 to 20%. Not dramatically, not robotically, just slightly slower than feels natural. If it feels almost too slow to you, it likely sounds perfect to others. Second, eliminate filler words. Basically fillers are anxiety leaks. They signal uncertainty. Record yourself speaking for 2 minutes on any topic. Count the fillers, then repeat the same 2 minutes and consciously remove them. Clarity increases immediately. Third, lower your pitch slightly at the end of sentences. Rising pitch at the end of statements makes them sound like questions. I think this is the right move. Said with rising pitch seeks confirmation. The same words with a steady or slightly downward pitch signal conviction. Same words, different authority. Fourth, breathe before speaking. Many people begin speaking on an inhale. That creates tightness. Instead, inhale, exhale slightly, then speak. Speaking on the exhale stabilizes tone. Now, let us talk about emotional triggers. When someone interrupts you, questions you sharply, or disagrees strongly, notice what happens to your voice. Does it rise? Does it speed up? Does it become defensive? That is the moment that matters most. Anyone can sound confident when comfortable. Dangerous confidence is tested under pressure. If challenged, slow down more, not less. Answer in fewer words, not more. Calm tone, direct sentence, stop talking. There is an executive communication coach who trains leaders using one core rule: short sentences, slow delivery, full stops. Under stress, simplify. Instead of defending with 5 explanations, say, that is a fair question. Pause. Here is my reasoning. Answer once. Stop. No extra justification. Silence after a response is powerful. It forces others to process. It signals that you are not scrambling. Another important element is volume. Confidence is not about being louder. In fact, slightly lowering your volume often increases attention. When you lower your voice just slightly, people lean in. Leaning in is a sign of engagement. Shouting is insecurity disguised as dominance. Steady volume, measured pace, controlled pauses. That is vocal authority. Here is a simple drill called the 3-second rule. When you are asked any question, wait 3 seconds before answering. Not dramatically, not awkwardly, just a calm pause. This does 2 things. It prevents reactive speech, and it signals thoughtfulness. Instant responses often feel defensive. Measured responses feel intentional, and intention is confidence. Here is something deeper. Your voice is directly connected to your identity. If you rush your words, you rush your presence. If you soften every statement, you soften your impact. Train your voice, and you train perception. Train perception, and you influence outcomes. Practice today. Choose one conversation and consciously slow your speech. Add one intentional pause. Lower your pitch slightly at sentence endings. Remove fillers. Afterward, observe the difference. Did people interrupt less? Did they listen more? Did you feel more stable? You will, because control of voice is control of nervous energy, and control of nervous energy is the foundation of dangerous confidence. Chapter 4. Stop over-explaining. Over-explaining is insecurity trying to survive. It does not look dramatic. It does not feel obvious, but it quietly destroys authority. You make a point, then you add another sentence to support it, then another, then an example, then a clarification, then a softener. By the end, your original statement has lost its weight, not because it was wrong, because you did not trust it to stand alone. Over-explaining is not about communication, it is about fear. Fear of being misunderstood, fear of being judged, fear of being seen as wrong, fear of someone disagreeing and you not being ready. So you keep talking, you fill silence, you layer protection, you defend before anyone attacks. And every extra sentence signals one thing: I am not sure this is enough. Dangerous confidence speaks once. Not harshly, not arrogantly, just clearly. And then it allows space. Silence after a statement feels uncomfortable for many people. That discomfort reveals something important. If silence makes you anxious, it means you depend on immediate feedback to feel secure. You say something, no one reacts instantly, and you rush to add more. But silence is not threat. Silence is processing. Silence is power. Silence forces others to engage. Think about negotiations. The person who talks more usually loses leverage. The person who states their position and stops forces the other side to move. Over-explaining gives away leverage. It signals that you are negotiating with your own certainty. There is a clear difference between clarity and justification. Clarity is structured and intentional. It sounds like, "This is the direction I recommend." Justification is emotional and reactive. It sounds like, "I think this might be the direction and the reason is because, and I know there are other ways, but this just seemed like it could potentially work for us, given the current situation." Same idea, completely different authority. Let us break down the most common over-explaining patterns. Pattern 1 is pre-defensive framing. I know this might sound crazy, this might be wrong, but, you probably will not agree, but. These phrases weaken your statement before it begins. You are lowering your own authority. Remove them. Start directly. Pattern 2 is justifying boundaries. I cannot stay late tonight because I have to wake up early and I did not sleep well and tomorrow is quite busy. Instead, I will not be able to stay late tonight. Full stop. You do not need to justify self-respect. Pattern 3 is filling disagreement. Someone says, "I am not sure I agree." Instead of responding calmly, you launch into a 5-minute defense. Disagreement is neutral. It does not reduce your value. A dangerous response sounds like, "I understand." Pause. "Here is why I see it differently." Short. Clear. Done. No escalation, no emotional surge. Pattern 4 is repeating the same point in different words. This happens when someone does not react the way you expected. You interpret lack of reaction as lack of understanding, so you rephrase, then rephrase again. Stop. If they do not ask for clarification, do not offer it. Confidence assumes comprehension unless questioned. Now let us address something deeper. Over-explaining is often tied to identity fragility. If your identity feels threatened by disagreement, you will try to defend yourself excessively. But if your identity is stable, you do not feel attacked by a different opinion. Stability reduces the need to defend. Defense is expensive. It consumes energy, it consumes attention, it consumes credibility. There is a powerful communication principle. The more words you use to protect a position, the weaker that position appears. Precision carries weight. Length signals insecurity. The one-sentence rule. When expressing an opinion, limit yourself to one clear sentence. I believe we should delay the launch by 2 weeks to improve quality. Stop. If someone asks why, then explain. Do not preemptively justify. End statements with stillness. Speak. Pause. Relax your face. Maintain calm eye contact. Do not smile nervously. Do not add filler. Let your words stand alone. You will feel tension in your chest at first. That tension is withdrawal from approval addiction. Stay with it. Over time, your nervous system recalibrates. Here is a scenario. You are in a meeting. You make a proposal. Someone challenges it sharply. Instead of responding with a long defense, you say, "That is a fair concern." Pause. Here is the data supporting my recommendation. Deliver it briefly. Stop. If they continue, respond once more. Never escalate into emotional over-explaining. Calm repetition is stronger than emotional expansion. People with dangerous confidence are economical with words, not because they know less, because they do not feel the need to convince emotionally. There is a difference between convincing and clarifying. Convincing tries to change minds through force. Clarifying presents truth and allows others to choose. Dangerous confidence clarifies. It does not chase agreement. Practice today. Have one conversation where you deliberately say less. Make your point once. Resist the urge to add more. Let silence exist. Observe how people respond. You will notice something subtle. They lean in. They ask more questions. They treat your words as heavier. Because weight comes from certainty, and certainty does not ramble. It stands. Chapter 5. Stay calm when challenged. Confidence is easy when no one pushes back. The real test begins the moment tension enters the room. A sharp question, a public disagreement, a skeptical tone, an interruption. That is where unstable confidence cracks. Your body tightens, your voice shifts, your breathing shortens, your thoughts speed up. You do not lose confidence because you are incapable. You lose it because your nervous system interprets challenge as threat, and threat triggers reaction. Raised voice, long defensive explanation, sarcasm, tension in your face, all subtle signals of instability. Calm is dominance, not loudness, not aggression. Calm. Imagine two people in a disagreement. One speaks quickly, trying to defend every detail. The other listens fully, breathes, then responds in short, steady sentences. Who feels stronger? Strength is measured in regulation. There is a 4-step framework for this moment called the calm method. First, center. When challenged, do not respond immediately. Take one breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Relax your jaw. Slowing your body prevents escalation. Second, acknowledge. You do not need to agree, but you can recognize the other person's point. That is a fair question. I see why you would think that. I understand the concern. Acknowledgement lowers tension without lowering your authority. Third, limit. Answer clearly and briefly, not emotionally, not excessively. Stick to 1 or 2 structured points. Do not spiral into justification. Fourth, move on. After answering, stop. Do not keep defending. Do not reopen the topic unless necessary. Silence signals closure. Most people fail at step 4. They answer and then keep going because they want reassurance. But reassurance is not the goal. Stability is. Let us look at a real scenario. You present an idea. Someone says, "I do not think that will work." Immediate internal reaction. They doubt me. I need to prove myself. Instead of defending emotionally, try this. Pause. I appreciate that perspective. Pause. Here is why I believe it is worth testing. Short explanation. Stop. If they disagree again, that is fair. We can evaluate results after implementation. End. You did not escalate. You did not collapse. You did not chase approval. You remained steady. That steadiness is the most intimidating thing in the room, because it signals emotional independence. Now let us talk about emotional triggers. Everyone has them. Tone of voice, authority figures, public criticism, unexpected confrontation. Your job is not to eliminate triggers. Your job is to regulate through them. Awareness is key. Notice where your body reacts first. Does your chest tighten? Does your throat close? Do your hands tense? Those are early warning signals. When you detect them, slow down. Lower your voice instead of raising it. Reduce words instead of increasing them. Calm your body. Calm your voice. Calm your perception. There is something powerful about responding softly to aggression. It forces the other person to adjust. If someone raises their voice and you stay steady, they either calm down or expose themselves. Either way, you win by staying regulated. Another principle: you do not need to win every disagreement. Needing to win signals insecurity. Sometimes the strongest move is neutrality. That is one way to look at it. No defense, no argument. Detachment in disagreement is strength. Confidence is not about overpowering. It is about remaining internally unshaken. Here is a psychological truth. When someone challenges you harshly, they often expect emotional reaction. Reaction gives them control. Non-reaction removes their leverage. It is difficult to manipulate someone who does not react impulsively. That is dangerous confidence. It cannot be pulled into chaos. Let us talk about facial control. Micro-expressions reveal instability. Eye rolling, forced smiles, raised eyebrows, tight lips. Practice neutral expression during tension. Not cold, not blank, just relaxed. Your face should not betray emotional spikes. A drill for this moment. When criticized, respond with one sentence only. No explanation beyond that sentence. Train brevity under pressure. You will notice something interesting. When you do not overreact, people respect you more. Not because you dominate, because you do not wobble. Confidence is measured in micro moments. How you handle interruption, how you handle disagreement, how you handle being wrong. Let us talk about being wrong. If someone proves you wrong publicly, say, "You are right, I missed that." Then stop. No justification, no ego defense. Owning mistakes calmly builds more authority than defending weakly. Arrogance defends, confidence adjusts. Dangerous confidence does not crumble when imperfect. It absorbs correction without emotional collapse, and that makes it resilient. Resilience is power. Chapter 6. Detach from the outcome. Attachment creates pressure. Pressure creates tension. Tension leaks through your body, your voice, and your decisions. You can have perfect posture. You can speak slowly. You can stay calm under challenge. But if you need a specific outcome to feel secure, your confidence will always be fragile. Neediness is invisible to you. It is visible to everyone else. When you need approval, it shows. When you need agreement, it shows. When you need success, it shows. When you need someone to say yes, it shows. Attachment tightens you. Your tone becomes slightly urgent. Your eyes search for reaction. Your breathing shortens. Your words try harder. And trying harder reduces authority. Dangerous confidence is detached. Not indifferent, not careless. Detached. There is a difference. Indifference says, "I do not care." Detachment says, "I care, but I do not need." That difference is everything. Imagine walking into a negotiation, needing the deal to close. Your energy shifts immediately. You become slightly more flexible than necessary. You explain more than required. You tolerate behavior you normally would not. You signal subtly, this matters too much. Now imagine walking into that same negotiation knowing you can walk away. Your tone changes, your posture changes. You ask questions instead of pleading. You listen instead of convincing. You remain steady because your identity is not tied to the outcome. Attachment makes you reactive. Detachment makes you powerful. Here is the hard truth. The more you need something to go your way, the less control you have. Because needing creates fear, fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of failure, and fear distorts behavior. You speak faster, you defend more, you overcommit, you compromise your standards. Detachment removes distortion. It allows clarity. Let us break down common outcome attachments. Attachment to being liked. You soften boundaries. You avoid necessary conflict. You tolerate disrespect. Attachment to being right. You argue longer than necessary. You escalate tension. You damage relationships to protect ego. Attachment to success. You panic when things do not go perfectly. You interpret setbacks as identity threats. Attachment to a specific response. You expect a certain reaction. When it does not happen, you wobble. All of these create instability. Dangerous confidence is internally anchored. It says, I will show up fully. I will execute well. And whatever happens, I remain steady. Detachment is not apathy. It is emotional discipline. There is a powerful mental shift that builds this. Instead of focusing on results, focus on execution. You cannot control outcomes fully. You can control preparation. You can control effort. You can control composure. You can control clarity. When your focus shifts from outcome to execution, pressure decreases. Because execution is within your control, outcome is not. Consider public speaking. If your goal is, they must be impressed, you become tense. If your goal is, I will deliver clearly and calmly, you stabilize. Results follow stability more often than desperation. There is a discipline practice you can begin today, the walk-away mindset. Before entering any important situation, say internally, if this does not go my way, I will still be fine. Repeat it. Not as arrogance, as grounding. You are not negotiating your worth with outcomes. You are expressing your value through action. Another drill. After finishing a conversation, do not replay it. No analysis, no mental review. Replay is attachment disguised as reflection. Unless you are extracting a clear lesson, let it go. Releasing mental loops builds emotional strength. Here is something deeper. Attachment often hides a fear of identity collapse. If this fails, what does that say about me? Dangerous confidence separates event from identity. A failed deal does not mean you are a failure. A disagreement does not mean you are incompetent. Rejection does not mean you are unworthy. When identity detaches from outcome, confidence stabilizes. This does not mean you do not care about winning. It means you do not collapse if you do not. And that is rare. Rare energy stands out. People sense it. You can see it in entrepreneurs who pitch without desperation, in leaders who make decisions without panic, in athletes who miss a shot and reset instantly. Resetting quickly is detachment in action. They do not spiral, they adjust. That is power. Attachment creates chasing behavior. Chasing reduces value perception. When you chase validation, people feel it. When you chase agreement, people feel it. When you chase attention, people feel it. Detachment attracts. Because steadiness is magnetic, there is a calm energy in someone who can walk away. It signals, I am not here from lack. And lack repels. Abundance stabilizes. Dangerous confidence comes from internal abundance. Abundance of self-trust. abundance of self-respect, abundance of emotional regulation. You do not cling when you feel internally full. Each day, practice micro-detachments. Send the email and stop checking. State your opinion and stop defending. Set your boundary and stop explaining. Make your decision and stop seeking approval. Each time you resist the urge to chase outcome, you strengthen identity. You prove to yourself, I remain steady regardless, and that repetition builds dangerous confidence. Chapter 7. Raise your internal standards. Confidence built on mood is unstable. Confidence built on praise is fragile. Confidence built on appearance is temporary. But confidence built on standards becomes durable. Internal standards determine how you act when no one is watching, how you speak when you are tired, how you respond when you are irritated, how you decide when it is inconvenient. If your behavior changes depending on who is present, your confidence will always fluctuate. Dangerous confidence is predictable in integrity. You know what you stand for, you know what you tolerate, you know what you refuse, and you do not renegotiate those standards under pressure. Low standards create quiet self-doubt. When you break small promises to yourself, something subtle happens. Your self-trust weakens. You say you will wake up early. You do not. You say you will finish the task. You delay it. You say you will hold a boundary. You bend it. Each time, you teach yourself, my words do not carry weight. And if your own words do not carry weight internally, they will not carry weight externally. Confidence is directly tied to self-trust. Self-trust is built through kept commitments, not grand gestures, small ones. If you do not respect yourself privately, you cannot project strength publicly. People sense inconsistency. When someone speaks strongly but lives loosely, their authority feels thin. Internal standards fix that. Let us define what internal standards actually are. They are non-negotiable rules you set for yourself, not to impress others, not to signal virtue, but to maintain internal order. I do not speak negatively about people behind their backs. I finish what I start. I do not tolerate disrespect. I respond to it. I show up on time. I say what I mean. Each one strengthens identity. Because identity is not what you say you are, it is what you consistently do. If your standards change when pressure rises, your confidence collapses under stress. Imagine someone who claims to be calm but loses control when criticized. That gap destroys authority. Alignment builds power. Alignment between values and behavior. Raising standards does not mean becoming harsh. It means becoming disciplined. Discipline is self-respect in action. When you hold yourself to a higher standard than the environment requires, you build silent strength. You could gossip, but you choose not to. You could react emotionally, but you pause. You could cut corners, but you complete the task fully. Each decision strengthens your internal spine, and spine creates posture, not just physically, psychologically. Now let us talk about boundaries. Standards without boundaries are meaningless. If someone crosses your line and you do nothing, your nervous system registers weakness, and weakness creates internal instability. Setting a boundary calmly builds confidence instantly, not aggressively, calmly. I am not okay with that. That does not work for me. I will not be able to do that. No explanation marathon, no apology. Clear, direct, done. The first time you hold a boundary without over-explaining, you will feel discomfort. That discomfort is growth, because you are replacing approval-seeking with self-respect. There is a powerful internal question this chapter offers. If no one applauded me, would I still choose this behavior? If the answer is yes, you are acting from standard. If the answer is no, you are acting from image. Image-based confidence is fragile. Standard-based confidence is stable. Another critical piece is consistency. Inconsistent behavior creates internal friction. You say you value discipline, but you procrastinate daily. You say you value health, but you ignore your body. That internal contradiction creates doubt, and doubt leaks through posture, tone, and presence. Raising standards eliminates contradiction. It simplifies identity. You become someone who keeps promises, handles pressure calmly, speaks clearly, lives aligned. And alignment removes insecurity. Because insecurity often comes from knowing you are not living up to your own expectations. The one rule upgrade. Choose one area of your life and raise the standards slightly, not dramatically, slightly. If you wake up at 8, wake up at 7:45. If you avoid hard conversations, initiate one this week. If you over-explain, commit to brevity in one meeting. Small upgrades compound. Each time you follow through, you build evidence. Evidence builds identity. Identity builds confidence. There is something powerful about becoming the most disciplined person in the room, silently, not announcing it, not performing it, just embodying it. When you respect yourself deeply, you stop chasing external validation because you already meet your own standard. And when you meet your own standard, you walk differently. You speak differently. You decide differently. Standards must apply to you first. It is easy to demand respect, harder to behave respectfully. It is easy to expect discipline, harder to practice it daily. Lead yourself first. If you cannot lead yourself, you cannot lead perception. Confidence is not a trick. It is an outcome of disciplined living, and disciplined living builds an unshakable core. Chapter 8. Train confidence daily. Confidence is not a switch. It is conditioning. You do not wake up one morning dangerously confident. You train your nervous system to remain steady under pressure through repetition. Repetition builds familiarity. Familiarity reduces fear. Reduced fear increases control. Control creates confidence. Many people wait to feel ready. They think confidence appears before action. It does not. Action builds it. Every time you avoid discomfort, you reinforce fear. Every time you move toward discomfort calmly, you reinforce strength. Dangerous confidence is trained exposure, not reckless exposure, structured daily exposure. Let us break this down into a daily system. First, daily discomfort practice. Confidence grows at the edge of comfort, so you must deliberately touch the edge every day, not dramatically, not theatrically. Small, controlled discomfort. Speak up once in a meeting. Maintain eye contact slightly longer than feels natural. State an opinion without softening it. Initiate a difficult conversation. Say no without over-explaining. Each action teaches your nervous system, this is survivable. Fear shrinks with exposure. Second, controlled stillness. Most insecurity shows up as unnecessary movement, so practice stillness intentionally. Stand in front of a mirror. Deliver a 60-second statement without fidgeting. Hands relaxed, shoulders steady, voice controlled. Film yourself. Watch objectively, not to criticize, to refine. Remove micro-movements. Remove filler words. Slow your pace. Refinement builds mastery. Mastery builds confidence. Third, voice conditioning. Read one paragraph out loud daily. Focus on lower pitch, slower pace, clear articulation, intentional pauses. Do this consistently for 30 days. Your vocal presence will change, and when your voice stabilizes, your mind stabilizes. Fourth, emotional regulation training. Simulate pressure. Have someone challenge your opinion intentionally. Practice responding with pause, acknowledgement, short answer, and stop. Train this response pattern because under real stress, you will not rise to the occasion. you will fall to your training. If your training is reaction, you will react. If your training is regulation, you will regulate. Fifth, micro-detachment. Each day, release something small. Send a message and do not reread it. Post content without checking engagement repeatedly. Make a decision and stop seeking reassurance. Detachment strengthens emotional independence. Emotional independence strengthens presence. Consistency matters more than intensity. You do not need dramatic transformation. You need repetition. Small daily wins compound. Here is what happens over time. In week 1, you feel discomfort. In week 2, you feel slightly more stable. In week 3, others begin noticing subtle shifts. In week 4, your baseline changes. Confidence becomes less effortful because your nervous system has recalibrated. You are no longer surprised by tension. You have practiced it. There is a principle in performance psychology called stress inoculation. Repeated exposure to mild stress increases your tolerance for higher stress. Confidence works identically. If you never practice discomfort, high-pressure moments overwhelm you. If you train small discomfort daily, high-pressure moments feel familiar. Familiarity reduces panic. Panic reduction increases clarity. Clarity increases authority. The 30-day protocol. For the next 30 days, every single day, one discomfort action, one controlled stillness drill, one slow intentional vocal exercise, one micro-detachment, no exceptions. At the end of 30 days, your baseline will shift, not dramatically in appearance. Internally, your reactions will slow, your voice will steady, your posture will stabilize, your need for approval will reduce. That is when dangerous confidence begins to feel natural. And natural confidence is unstoppable because it is not performed, it is embodied. Now let us address something most people ignore: identity reinforcement. Every night, ask yourself one question. Did I behave like the version of me I am becoming? Not perfectly, but intentionally. If the answer is yes, even partially, you strengthen identity. If the answer is no, you do not collapse into guilt. You adjust tomorrow. Confidence is not built through self-criticism. It is built through self-alignment. Another powerful practice is environmental alignment. Your environment either supports your confidence or quietly erodes it. Who are you around daily? Do they reward insecurity? Do they mock growth? Do they pressure you to shrink? If you constantly downplay yourself to fit in, you are rehearsing weakness. Dangerous confidence sometimes requires environmental distance, not hostility, distance, because growth and insecurity rarely coexist peacefully. And physical training matters more than most people realize. The body and confidence are deeply linked. Regular physical training builds physiological resilience. When you push your body through discomfort safely, you teach your nervous system, I can handle stress. That lesson transfers directly into social and professional situations. Resilient body leads to resilient nervous system, leads to resilient presence. Sleep matters. Nutrition matters. Posture during daily life matters. If your baseline energy is low, your emotional control decreases, and without emotional control, confidence collapses under pressure. Daily training is holistic. Mental, physical, behavioral. There is one final principle. Do not announce your transformation. Train quietly. Let people notice. When you tell others you are becoming more confident, you seek validation from the very people you are trying to stop needing. When you embody it silently, you build authority. Confidence that needs witnesses is fragile. Confidence that builds in silence is strong. Over time, you will notice something subtle. Situations that once intimidated you no longer do. People who once made you nervous no longer affect your breathing. Conversations that once triggered over-explaining become simple. That shift is not luck, it is training. And training creates identity. Identity creates stability. Stability creates dangerous confidence. Keep building quietly, consistently, deliberately, because the strongest presence in any room is the one that does not need to prove itself. Dangerous confidence is not a personality, it is a discipline. Over the last 8 chapters, you have seen something clearly. Confidence is not loudness, it is not charisma, it is not dominance, it is not perfection, it is regulation. Regulation of your need for approval, regulation of your body, regulation of your voice, regulation of your reactions, regulation of your attachment to outcomes, regulation of your standards. When regulation increases, instability decreases. When instability decreases, presence becomes powerful. You do not become dangerous by overpowering people. You become dangerous by becoming unshakable. Think about who you were before this audiobook. Where did you shrink? Where did you over-explain? Where did you rush your words? Where did you look for approval? Where did you react instead of respond? Awareness alone already shifts identity, but awareness without action changes nothing. The version of you that does not wobble under pressure is already possible. It is not hidden. It is untrained. Here is a simple 3-day challenge. On day 1, remove one approval-seeking behavior. No unnecessary apologies, no softening phrases. On day 2, control your physical presence. Slow your movements. Reduce fidgeting. Hold eye contact. On day 3, handle one uncomfortable situation calmly. A disagreement, a boundary, a difficult conversation. Not perfectly, calmly. After 3 days, you will feel the shift. Small but real. Understand something deeper. The world responds to energy, not just words. If your energy says, "I need validation," people feel it. If your energy says, "I am stable," people feel that too. And stability commands respect. Confidence and kindness can coexist. In fact, true confidence allows greater kindness, because you are no longer operating from fear. Fear makes you defensive. Stability makes you generous. Dangerous confidence is not about intimidating others. It is about removing their ability to destabilize you. When your mood is not controlled by reactions, when your posture does not collapse under scrutiny, when your voice does not rush under tension, when your standards do not bend under pressure, you become difficult to shake. And people trust what does not shake. Trust builds influence. Influence builds opportunity. Opportunity builds leverage. It all starts with regulation. The strongest person in the room is rarely the loudest. It is the one who does not react impulsively, the one who does not chase approval, the one who does not over-explain, the one who can walk away. That can be you, not by personality change, by daily discipline. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you build, one pause at a time, one steady breath at a time, one controlled response at a time, and eventually something changes. You stop trying to appear confident. You simply are calm, grounded, unmoved, dangerous. Train it, live it, refine it. And remember, you do not need to be louder. You need to be steadier. Stay sharp, stay calm, and build relentlessly.